Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Today's lecture topic is brain development, an extremely big topic when regarding infants and toddlers. Between the ages of 0 and 3, the brain grows more rapidly than at any other time over the lifespan. It's during these crucial years that the foundation is laid of which future development builds upon. Some may assume that infants are slowly learning or passive. However, that could be further from the truth. In fact, they are constantly receiving, processing, and storing information. From sights and sounds to touch and smell, all stimuli are influencing development. All experiences shape the way the brain develops, with social interactions and relationships having great impact on the process and outcome. At birth, the brain is incomplete. The brain begins to develop within a few weeks of conception, and when the baby is born, the brain is about 25% of the eventual size. By age 3, the brain is about 90% of the adult size, leaving only 10% of growth over the rest of the lifespan, with the majority of that happening through adolescence. This is a tremendous amount of growth in such a short period of time, and really emphasizes the importance of supporting brain development in these early years. Why is the brain incomplete? Although the word incomplete can have somewhat of a negative connotation, it's quite the opposite. The fact that the baby's born with an incomplete brain allows the child to adapt to their environment. With all environments being different in some capacity, this is ultimately a survival mechanism that is beneficial. This is a nice visual of the brain showing the different regions by color. These regions are developed on a timeline from bottom to top. Moving up from the bottom to the top, the structures get more complex. You can see at the bottom, in the pink is the brainstem, which regulates our states. Up to the green, you can see the diencephalon, which integrates sensations. In the blue is the limbic area, which controls feelings. And then you move to the top, outward part of the brain, in purple, is the cortex. It's important to note that none of the regions work in isolation, but instead integrate all information gathered from both inside and outside the body, and the brain is malleable, meaning that it can adapt and change depending on experiences. This is another visual, the infant brain under construction, and it's literally being built. At the bottom again, you can see we have the brainstem, which is developing between 0 and 9 months. Moving up is the diencephalon, developing from 6 months to 2, integrating sensory input, fine muscle control. From 1 to 4 years is the limbic, and up to 3 to 6 years is the cortex. There are 2 factors that play into how the brain is built. The brain grows and takes shape dependent on these 2 factors. Our genes are what we come into this world with and are pre-programmed at conception. They're Mother Nature's best guess as to what we need to survive. Our experiences shaping our brain ensure that we fit in with our environment, such as our family, geographic area, and culture. Again, at birth, much of the brain is undifferentiated and waiting to be developed. The genome is the basic plan for human development. Genes can be looked at as the blueprint. They are the instructions, so to speak. Genes consist of long strands of DNA which are strung together in a precise order. The same package of genes can be found in each cell of the body. DNA serves as a code, like letters of an alphabet. When put together, they can relay a message for what to build in the body. DNA provides instruction for how humans grow and develop. Another nice visual. This is of the DNA. You can see the tightly coiled molecules in the cell, in the DNA, which is in the cell. Some genes rely on experience. For some genes, experience is required in order for the code to be unlocked and read. Although genes are fixed at conception and cannot change depending on experience, the epigenome can. The epigenome either increases or decreases how the gene is activated and marks the gene with a tag, so to speak, that influences the instruction for development. The analogy of a dial can be used to explain this. If the dial is turned one way, it can increase the strength of a response, yet when turned the other way, it can decrease the strength. Experience influences which way the epigenome turns the dial. Nutrition, stress, and pollutants are examples of variables that can change the epigenome. The next 2 slides have links that go to videos that I would like you to watch when the lecture's over. And these videos explain how nutrition, stress, and nurturing care can change the epigenome. So again, please come back to this after the lecture and click on the links to view the videos. How knowledge forms. Neurons that fire together wire together, creating networks that transmit and hold information within the entire nervous system. What this means is that the more an experience occurs, the stronger the connection between the neurons becomes. And the more that connection is used, the stronger that connection becomes, essentially holding an experience in the brain. A neuron is a nerve cell that makes up the brain and the entire nervous system. At birth, we have 100 billion neurons. They're separated from each other by a gap, called a synapse, over which a message is relayed. Again, these next 2 slides have links to videos that will explain how neurons work. When the lecture's over, please refer to these, click on the links, and view the videos. Our nerves gather information through our senses and muscles and transform it to an electrical charge which travels from neuron to neuron within brain regions. This pattern of activity is what holds meaning, going back to the idea of neurons that fire together, wire together. Here we have a nice visual of the process of a message traveling in the brain. The role of the neuron is played by a radish. The green leafy part of the radish is the dendrites which receive information. The information travels through the body and out the axon, crossing the synapse via the neurotransmitters to the dendrites of the next neuron. Myelin is a fatty layer that wraps around the neuron and acts much like insulation to speed up the transmission of electrical signals. Myelination is the process of laying down that fatty layer. The process is barely begun in newborns and proceeds over time as brain regions develop, moving from the lower to the upper brain. This process makes message relay more efficient. To recap, experiences result in electrical energy that gets relayed by circuits of neurons. Over time, the more frequently a circuit of neurons is used, the more the circuit will fire again. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Plasticity refers to the connections that are used getting stronger and remaining part of the brain. The pruning occurs when connections are not used. This also improves the efficiency of the brain. Relationships actually get built into the brain. How we are with babies impacts how they come to know the world. Please click on the link and watch the video emphasizing how babies are biologically primed to read others through a video titled The Social Brain. Babies do read others. They seek patterns and predictability in the features and behaviors of people. Brain-to-brain resonance refers to how the actions of one are attuned to the actions of another. This can be explained more thoroughly through mirror neurons. Mirror neurons help us make meaning of others. Think of what happens when you watch another person show surprise. In your brain, the same neurons fire as they would if you were the one being surprised. When we see others feel or act, we feel and know their intentions or feelings without consciously thinking or imitating. Mirror neurons allow us to instantaneously know others' feelings or intentions. Social contact actually nourishes the brain. This quote says so much. The most important thing to understand about babies is that they are born looking for us. Only one thing is more important to a baby than food, and that is human contact. Babies are born with the capacity to stay connected to those who will protect them and nourish them. So just as food is a necessity to survive, so is human contact. Such a powerful tool. Relationships shape the developing brain. What infants learn reflects the values, beliefs, and attitudes of those who provide care. Infants develop within relationships. Now we'll end with this quote by Dr. Bruce Perry. Childhood experiences create the person. These organizing childhood experiences can result in flexible, responsible, empathetic, and creative adults, or impulsive, aggressive, remorseful, and antisocial individuals. Early childhood is not a passive time. It is, in fact, the most crucial time in the life of an individual, and thereby in the life of a society.